De Latinos TV NY, Bonches Latinos LLC ni de sus propietarios.
Con pereza cortino.
Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a En Perspectiva. El programa de hoy viene inmenso, lleno de mucha información, pero no información de la que suelo traer. Hoy tengo una invitada especialísima, viene de Elizabeth, New Jersey. Es una señora activista comunitaria y está en la política, con mucha influencia en la ciudad, en la comunidad, ayudando, apoyando, contribuyendo, y ha estado corriendo para algunas posiciones en el Board of Education de Elizabeth. La vamos a dar la bienvenida y luego nos vamos a ir a una pausa. Primero quiero tomarme 2 minutitos para decirles que la entrevista va a ser en inglés, puesto que mi invitada habla poquito español, ella prefiere el inglés, y yo voy a ir traduciendo lo que estamos conversando. Y bueno, también me tomo un minutito más para saludar en República Dominicana a mi colega y amigo Salvador Holguín, mandarle un abrazo, solidarizarme con ese problema que le pasó. Le mando mucha luz, muchas bendiciones, y que Dios le cubra a él y a su familia, y que nos proteja a todos los que andamos en estos trabajos tratando de aportar y apoyar la comunidad, y que lamentablemente por algunos comentarios que a algunos no les gustan, pues tenemos en peligro a veces hasta la vida. También quiero enviar un saludo al licenciado Erasmo Chalas Tejeda, que está siempre atento a nuestro programa desde República Dominicana, siempre pendiente de verlo y mandándonos saludos a todos. Y bueno, saludos también a Anthony Pinix, una persona que está siempre detrás de mí, impulsándome, empujándome a continuar con mi trabajo y con mi labor. Saludos y gracias a Karina Rivera, nuestra productora, que sin ella, pues esto no podría ser posible. Bueno, vamos a darle la bienvenida a mi invitada, Christina Moreira. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme hoy. Thank you for joining me today.
De nada, de nada.
Va a ser un programa muy ameno. Vamos a aprender mucho de ti hoy. Vamos a ver cómo una mujer empoderada y enfocada en ayudar a la comunidad nos ilustra a nosotras y también nos inspira para continuar. Pero amigos, esto va después. Voy a poner un poquito, vamos a los sponsors, a los patrocinadores un momentito, y ya regresamos para comenzar con la entrevista de Christina Moreira. Gracias.
Desde Nueva York, con pasión y emoción. Latinos TV, la mejor conexión. Noticias, deportes y entretenimiento. Aquí se siente el verdadero talento. Latinos TV NY. Ser latino está de moda, lo tienes que vibrar. Latinos TV NY.
Bueno, estamos de vuelta. Me ha dicho mi productora que no tengo que ir traduciendo nada, porque ella no quiere que yo pierda tiempo, y ustedes lo pueden traducir en YouTube. Así que vamos a leer un poquito el profile de mi invitada Christina Moreira, y luego vamos a comenzar presentándole con las preguntas para ella. Christina Moreira is a mom, wife, and dedicated community advocate committed to improving educational equity and quality of life for families across the city of Elizabeth, okay? She earned an associate degree in applied science from Rogers University in 2003, and currently works as a dental hygienist in Union, New Jersey. Driven by her passion for youth and education, Christina founded Elizabeth Parents and Students Care, a parent-led community group focused on educational accountability, family engagement, and advocating for students' rights and support services. And for her commitment to public services, Christina has run for the Elizabeth Board of Education multiple times in 2016, 2017, and again in 2018, with a focus on bringing parent voice, transparency, and accountability to the school district. Christina is an administrative board member of Teen Interrupters Inc., an organization dedicated to preventing youth involvement in the justice system through mentoring, character development, and empowerment. And she also serves on the board of Elizabeth Athletic Hall of Fame, honoring Elizabeth athletic greatness and supporting students athlete and scholarship initiatives. At the heart of the work is a simple belief: strong schools, informed families, and transparent governments create stronger communities. All right, thank you very much. It's beautiful, your profile. That was a lot. No, no, no. I think like it's not a lot. It's less than you really are and than you are done in the city. So, in your own words, who is Christina Moreira?
Christina Moreira is a mom and a wife first, and then a dental hygienist and a community advocate that is just trying to empower parents to have a voice in the city, in education. So that is essentially the person that I am.
Okay. From the thousand questions that I have here for you, the first should be what made you take the decision to get involved in the community and in politics?
So that started when my son, so I have two children. My daughter's 21 and my son is now 17. But when my son started in school, I started to notice that he was having some difficulty with reading and writing. And I started to ask questions of the school district as to what we can do to help him. And I was trying to connect with other parents at this time. It wasn't really too much on social media, but there was no real groups that I could find to like talk to parents about these things. And I think I was talking to my sister maybe at the time, and she said, why don't you go on Facebook? So I did that, and I created this little Facebook group just to kind of connect parents together so that we can talk about issues that were happening in the schools. And I went to my first Board of Education meeting, and I thought I was going to go to like a business meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and it was what I called like a circus, because there was two different groups of people in political power,
Mm-hmm.
and they were at that meeting, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm here to talk about at that time state testing, and I wanted to let parents know that they had a right to refuse the state testing, and that the school district should let the parents know. So that was my first time going to a board meeting. And after I saw that, a few other people came up to me and they're like, oh, we really like what you said. So I started to connect with these people. And that's when I started seeing like, what is going on in our school district, right? It just seemed like a lot of politics.
Yeah.
So slowly I started to get educated about what was happening in our schools. And that's what was my first kind of like introduction into the world of politics, I guess.
Uh, um, so apparently, um, politics is inside of everything.
Yes, unfortunately. In our schools, politics dictates what's taught in our schools, what funding we get. So yeah, we like to say like I don't want to be involved in politics with education,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, the reality is that it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we can't pretend that it's not that. So we need to be involved, right? On
Of course.
some level.
Of course.
Yeah.
And have you faced a challenge on when you decide to get involved in the community and the politics? How that has been? How a challenge? What challenge can you have you been faced?
So, many challenges. So when I decided to run for the Board of Education the first time, um, I had no desire to be involved in politics, right? I just wanted to make sure that my kids and the parents that were reaching out to me were having their voices heard. But I started to realize, like I said, there was two different political groups that were trying to have power in the Board of Ed, and they were all connected.
Yeah.
So we had this group over here that was connected to the mayor, this group over here that was connected to these other people, and I didn't feel like there was just a regular parent that's not connected to anybody that was sitting there representing people like me and the other moms that I knew. I don't work for the city. I don't work, connected to Elizabeth. So they have no real power over me. So um that's where I was like, why not? Why not run? What I didn't realize is what an extreme challenge that would be financially, emotionally,
Yeah.
because these people have built-in machines that fund them, and it's very hard to, run a political campaign without money, and people to help. Lots of people. The city of Elizabeth is one of the biggest cities in the state of New Jersey. So it takes a lot of knocking on doors and letting people know what you're doing, who you are. So yeah, it is challenging, but we did it 3 times. So, and each time it got a little easier. People got to know who you were,
Yeah.
So unfortunately that takes going on the streets, talking to people, attending events, which is,
That take a lot of energy,
a lot of energy.
a lot of time,
Mhm.
a lot of money,
Yeah.
and yes, a lot of sacrifices. The family.
Yeah, because the time that I'm on the street, knocking on doors, attending Board of Education meetings, it's time that I'm not home with my family,
Of course.
So it is a big commitment, but I thought it was one worth pursuing. I still think it's one worth pursuing, because ultimately education is one of the most important things you can give your children, right? And you only have one shot to get it right. Once those 12 years in school are gone, they're gone. So you want to make sure that they're getting the most out of it. So
Of course. What are the main problems in Elizabeth right now?
oh my God, there's so many. And I don't want to say just in Elizabeth, right? Throughout many communities, we're facing challenges, especially with what's going on nationally, right? In this country.
Yeah, but we are representing in Elizabeth.
Yes. So, we know that housing is a big issue, right? Rents in Elizabeth are $2,000-$3,000. That's more than what I pay for my mortgage. So, finding housing, affordable housing is an issue in Elizabeth. Um, Obviously, education, especially around special education. That is one of the things that I'm really passionate about, because of my son. And just making sure that parents' voices are heard and making sure that our kids are getting what they need in school.
Exactly.
Finding programs for children, right? After school programming, summer programming. I know when the summer comes, so in my parent group, there's like 5,000 members, right? And parents are always asking, where can I put my children in the summer? Right. Now, the city offers some programming, but it's not enough, and I know we can never fill the need 100%, but we need more and we can do more. Not only for after school programming, but for summer programming, um, uh, employment programming to help kids who don't want to go to college or can't go to college for whatever reason, trying to get them work study programs that they can do to help them take them to the next level to be productive members of society, right? Making our communities safe, um, those types of things are very important. Mental health issues.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot that needs to be addressed. And when the community is involved, then I think it just becomes easier to get accomplished. But, unfortunately, I feel like there is this wall up where the politicians are on one side and the community is kind of left in the dark as to what's happening.
Yeah, because apparently at some point the community has been, the community gave up because sometimes community get tired of trying and knocking. There is a point that the people say, okay, everything's in vain.
Yeah.
You don't get anything. For example, from all those programs that the Board of Education or the City of Elizabeth has in place, it's for example, it's sometimes some programs are only in theory, not in the practice. So, do you have an idea of how many programs really exist and really are doing and putting in practice in the city, and the children have been taking advantage of that? Are they, you know?
Well, I think the city has, some programming. We have some youth basketball programming, some arts programming, the after school tutoring programs. The problem is that they're very limited. Maybe they'll take, a handful of students, but the need is so much greater. So we need to allocate more funding at the city level for things that are related to our youth, right? And then, in coordination with the Board of Education, there's a lot of crossing over there. A lot of the members of our Board of Education.
Who is the head of the Board of Education right now?
So the president of the Board of Education right now is Maria Carvalho, and she's been sitting on that board for some time. And then, of course, the superintendent is who runs the school district, and she's been the superintendent for, I don't know, I've been attending board meetings for over 10 years, and she was there before that. So, I think because we do have this crossover of people who sit on our Board of Ed who also work for City Hall, there's a great opportunity to partner with the city to bring programming and use our schools, because we have 30-something schools that we can use for after school and summer programming. We have a pool in our public schools that we can use to help teach children how to swim, not only during school time, right? Because that's only open to high school students, but during the summertime, during breaks. I just think it takes some thinking outside of the box to help get some of these things in motion,
Okay. What is the position of Mr. Stanley Neron now? He was elected for another position, but I don't remember which one.
So Stan he's the director of recreation in the city of Elizabeth, and then he also sat on the Board of Education for a couple of years. And then just recently, he was elected to serve as a county commissioner. So he had to give up his seat on the Board of Education to become the county commissioner. But he still is the head of recreation for the city of Elizabeth.
Okay. What has been done and was still not being done in Elizabeth?
As far as what?
And the Board of Education have to
In the Board of Education,
the public schools.
So, again, this has been an ongoing, I want to say, fight with members of our Elizabeth Parents and Students Care Group advocating, especially when it comes to special needs, our special needs communities. I hear on a regular basis from parents, especially our Spanish-speaking community, because a lot of parents don't speak English. They don't know, how things work as far as requesting evaluations, what happens after that. So walking parents through the steps of that. So educating parents is one important thing of what their rights are.
Yes.
And then coming to those Board of Education meetings and speaking on behalf of those families to try really to work together so that we can make special education better, right? Because that's what we want, for our children to have the best education that they can. So if we as a community are coming to you, our elected officials, to try to, improve special education, we feel like we get pushback. We get pushback. Like what? Like why wouldn't you want to see what the issues are from the parents to help address those issues? So that is one really the biggest issue that we're having right now, is that just equity in education, right? That the students who are the most vulnerable get the resources that they need to be successful. So that right now is one of our fights. And the other is currently right now in Elizabeth, we have a lot of ICE agents roaming around.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, roaming around. So, I have parents reaching out to me all the time that they are scared. They're scared of sending their children to school. They're scared of going and picking up their children. I have staff members who have reached out to me who have seen the ICE agents outside of the school. So right now we're just trying to get answers from our Board of Education, from our superintendent, to really know what is the protocol. Like if you do see an ICE agent outside or the ICE agents try to come inside the building, like what is it the school's district's responsibility? And what can and cannot they do? So the last meeting, we had some people that went to the Board of Education meeting and asked the superintendent and the Board of Education those questions. And we were met with silence. Nobody said anything. They didn't
response?
no response. No response. And I think what bothered me the most watching it at home, because I couldn't attend that meeting, was that there was no empathy, no sense of, we understand what's happening, we care about what's happening, no compassion for the parents that were there. So, it just makes you feel like the people that are there to represent you don't even care about what's happening in the community, that you can't even say something to try to comfort the people that are coming here and speaking, So that was very frustrating, and we had one of our parents physically removed from the Board of Education meeting, which was concerning. So, what we need is more parents to get involved, more parents to show up and continue to show up so that they know that these things are important to the community.
Of course.
So yeah.
Do you think like this type of attitude from the representatives of the Board of Education is just starting now, or that have been
No, it's been ongoing.
the attitude, whatever? Yeah.
It's been ongoing, and some of them are more.
I'm asking because some people think like in the last government was things were different. People was more friendly. People was more, and now like apparently the president influence is like going everywhere, and people start being more. Like,
Well, I think there's always been an underlying sense of we don't have to answer to you. Because even when they read the public, like when they're asking the public to come and speak, they're like, this is a meeting of the board in public, not a meeting of the public, right? So we're already starting off saying this meeting is not for the public, right? And so you go there, you have 3 minutes to speak, and then most of the time nobody answers or acknowledges your concerns, right?
So those meetings are open for the community.
Correct.
Anyone can attend the meeting and can take the stage and for 3 minutes and ask any question or something.
Correct. You have to sign in your name, and then they read your name, and you go up. You have 3 minutes to talk about any issues or concerns or give them praise, whatever you'd like for those 3 minutes. And that only happens once a month. So once a month, you have parents or community members, whoever, that are going there and speaking. So,
and it's a good opportunity for the community to report whatever issue they have, personal or in in the area about
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. And by the time parents come to those meetings, it's because they've already tried to reach out to their principal or reach out to the board or reach out to the superintendent, and they haven't gotten any answers. So now this is where they ultimately come.
That's the time
because
for
they're-
them to
yeah,
report.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But right now they're being getting.
Well, like I said, this President Maria Carvalho, this was her first meeting since she's been appointed, and it didn't go so well. So I am hoping that that is not going to continue to be the case because there's a lot of work that needs to be done, right? And we can only do it when we work together, right?
Of
And
course.
address issues together. And so I'm hoping for a better,
Mm.
you know, response the next time we go to those meetings.
Of course. We're talking about the community, and sometimes as I say, people gave up to go on to some meetings to take to participate in politics, to get involved because they don't see any response. But how can you encourage people? How can you give a message to the all the community, Spanish or from here, to take, to stand up and to talk and continue to fight for the
Yeah,
rights?
listen, I'm going to be honest. This work is hard. It takes a lot of commitment and time, like I said, and it can get discouraging. I mean, even for me, who ran for the Board of Education a few times, I got to this point where I was just like, I need a break, which is fine, right? You can take a break, and it doesn't mean that you totally give up, right? Instead of going to board meetings, maybe you just help a parent navigate through the system, right? Maybe you just make social media posts to inform the community about things, right? It doesn't have to be like run for the Board of Ed or run for city council.
Yeah, there's many other
There's many other ways of being involved.
exactly.
Right? Sitting on a board of a local mentoring program, right? Where you're helping the youth. It comes in many different forms. But it is important at some point for us to have people that will want to take the position of leadership, right? Whether it's the Board of Education, whether it's city council. Because for me, I think it's important that we don't have people sitting in power for 30 years
No,
or 40 years.
it's not right.
No, because that's like the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely,
Mhm.
right? So we need fresh ideas, new people that are going to look at things a different way. And I think when people are sitting in a position for 12, 13, 14, 15 years, they just become very comfortable.
Yeah.
And nothing, kind of changes, right? So I would encourage people to, come to a Board of Education meeting, see what happens, come to a city council meeting, get to know the processes, and then take a chance. Take a chance and see what happens, put your name on the ballot
Yeah.
and run and talk to your, neighbors.
Especially young people.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important to get young people to register to vote, number one,
Yeah.
and then to actually come out and cast their vote. My daughter's 21, and when she was eligible to vote, I took her to the voting booth with me, and because she was like, "Mom, do I really have?" Yes,
Yes.
this is important. Like I don't think they real. I mean, she's seen me do this, a lot, so she knows, but. Yeah, it's very important. And now, nationally we are seeing the results of what happens
Exactly.
when people don't vote or
Yeah,
or drugs or yeah.
hold on. Wrong. Okay. Um. Wow. What urgent changes need action right now in Elizabeth, from your perspective?
Well, so right now, currently, like I said, I mostly go to the Board of Education meetings. I happened to go to a city council meeting maybe a month ago to help one of my friends who was trying to get a $20 cap on a rent ordinance. So when I was sitting there, I was reading through the agenda, And I noticed there was something on there, a $4 million that the city wanted to borrow, basically $4 million for a drone tower and a landing pad. And I was, I had questions,
Yes.
surprised. What is this for? And on there said that there was going to be a hearing the next meeting. So for me, I'm thinking they're going to explain what this is for, what this is about. So I came with a list of questions that I wanted to ask. And I thought somebody was going to answer those questions. I'm a community member, I'm a taxpayer. You're going to be borrowing money that may impact my taxes. I want to know, right?
Exactly.
Nobody had it.
No responses.
No response. Nobody had an answer. Nobody said, Mrs. Moreira, we're going to get back to you because we're not sure, but we're going to get back to you.
They simply ignore.
Just ignore. Next. The next person came and spoke.
Oh.
So that was very frustrating. The other issue is that the city council meetings are not live streamed. Like the Board of Education, you could sit at home and watch the Board of Education meeting from your house. You cannot do that at city council.
Why not?
Because they do not record the meetings and they do not stream the meetings. Most people have no idea when and where city council meetings happen.
Oh, wow.
They happen every Tuesday at 7:30 at City Hall, but most people have no idea. So, of course, there's this disassociation between our local representatives and the community because they don't even know where to go to find out about.
Is that another example of the all mentality, all brains, all the start in the position for many years?
I guess they just think this is the way it's always been, right? This is the way it's always been. Nobody's complained about it. And there have been people that have mentioned it, but again, it takes consistency. It takes showing up over and over and saying, this is not acceptable. We are in 2026. If you have a disability or you have small children or you work late at night and you don't have the opportunity to go to the meeting, I should still be able to know what my elected officials are doing, right? So yeah, it's not going to cost $4 million to stream a meeting, and that's just basic governance. So right now, that is my initiative that I am taking on, and I hope that some members of the community join me in advocating for having our city council meetings streamed. And then the other thing is, again, we have our council people that represent us, and if they are spending money or bringing ordinances, they should be explaining what it is that.
Who is the council at the Board of Education?
Say that again?
Who is the council? Or there are how many councils do you have in the board?
We have 6 wards, so we have 1 representative for each ward in Elizabeth, and then we have 3 at-large representatives, so 3 people who represent the whole city, and then we have the mayor. So those people usually have once a month. They have local they're called block watch meetings. So in my ward is the 3rd ward. They have a meeting once a month where you can go there and talk about your local concerns. There's no parking, or they didn't clean the street, or somebody broke into my house, and you can let him know. And then, he'll try to help you and talks about like events that may be happening. So that's also a good opportunity for the community to go to their local meetings. But the problem is, I have so many people who reach out to me. They have no idea what ward they live in. They have no idea who their city council person is. So it's just people are just so disconnected.
How do you think we can start educating people about doing those research, providing this information and everything?
So in my parent group, we do try to share that information about who their not specifically who their council person is, but we usually we have a post there that says who the council people are, their emails and contact information. We do the same thing for the Board of Education members. But I think that streaming the meetings will be very helpful into people recognizing visually who they are, what they do. And sometimes I believe that not streaming them is done on purpose.
Oh.
Because if you don't know what's happening, then you're not going to ask questions, right? So it's better to have an
Unless you know, unless you bother.
Exactly. So, personally, I feel that sometimes that's done on purpose. And so, yeah, that's where we have to push. And so I try to do it through social media, because that is an avenue where we have a lot of people, right? That you can reach a lot of people, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. And then locally, when I try to go to the meetings, and now at City Council, I'm going to have to bring my own camera so that I can record what's happening there, I'm hoping that the City Council members will do the right thing here and start streaming the meetings,
And we hope that young people or two or many others started standing up and running for council or for officers.
Yes,
Because, we need to change this mindset. That's people.
Because the other thing is, right, if I'm a city council person or a board of education member and nobody ever runs against me, then I automatically win, right?
Yes.
So they know that nobody's running against me. I'm gonna win, right? So we need to at least present somebody.
And they're going to continue doing the same thing they're doing all the time, right? When most of the time, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say absolutely nothing because, there are people, listen, there are people there that care. I do believe that. But when your job is tied to the position that you have and you're controlled in a sense by a higher power, sometimes it becomes hard for you to use your own true voice for what you think is right because these people are saying, hey, stay in your lane, right? So that's where I feel we need people on there that are not connected in that way and that they're there because they truly want to help the community to change things and use their own voice. And, you can't control me because you're going to get me fired from my job or my husband or my kid, So, and that's where they don't have any power over me in that sense, right? Because I don't work, anywhere in the city. So that's why I feel like, I'm able to say exactly what I need to say without any threat of anybody trying to,
Of course, because what happens sometimes is that some of the administrative people that are working there is because they know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
This one and that one.
right.
Yeah. They get this job because this one helped them get it. And again, that's not to say that, if you know somebody that they can help you in some sort of way, as long as you're a qualified individual.
Yeah.
But there's just too much of that, in our school district.
But I hear that even people, the Elizabeth Board of Education always have they have the information online that when there are positions available and stuff. But I know people that have contacted me that they were qualified for any position that had been available, and they have all the thing, and then they had been rejected for some other reasons that doesn't make sense to me, like depending on where you're from, depending on if you have some friends or whatever, or depending if you want to support some fundraiser, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
can you give me light about
That
that?
sounds very familiar. That sounds very familiar. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, when I first started attending Board of Education meetings, I had no idea about anything about,
That's not right.
I had no idea, because, well, that was also to me, right? I was just a normal mom taking my kid to soccer and living my life. And I had no need really to be involved in the Board of Education because my daughter at the time, she didn't have any issues or problems, right? Everything was good. But when I started to attend those meetings and started to see how political everything was, right? You had this group of people, like I said, that were tied to the mayor, these other people that were tied to this other regime. It was called the Fajardo people, right? For Rafael Fajardo was in control of the board at the time when I started to attend those board meetings. And just, I started to speak to some staff members, teachers, and people that worked for the district, and how everything was like, you get this job, you pay 10,000 for this job, you get promoted if you go to this fundraiser and you sell this many tickets. And I'm just like, what?
Really?
Like, yeah. So, the mayor's people wanted to supposedly make things better and have that not happen. So myself and a few others were trying to help them, get on the board of education, because of course, who wants all that other stuff? And they started to win seats on the board of education. And that's when we started to kind of realize, yeah, I don't think these people are any better than the ones that were there before them. And so, we were there to hold people accountable. Whether you're on this side or you're on that side, we expect the same thing. And we're not going to treat you any differently because you're my friend, right? Or we were trying to help you get on there. Well, we were trying to help you get on there because we thought you were going to change the way things were going to be.
Do the job.
But now if you're going to be on there and just do the same thing, but maybe a little different, then what are we doing? So that's when we started to kind of, that's when I decided, you know what? We're going to run for the Board of Education. So myself and another mom, Maria Lorenz, decided that we were going to give it a try.
Yeah, I want you to run again. Okay, can you go with a pause because I think you are a little bit the trainer. You need to be more up there. Yeah, let's go. Let's go for a pause for a minute. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is a very interesting interview. Oh my gosh. So, Christina,
Yes.
are you running the next time?
I do not have any plans to run right now. I want to make sure that my son graduates from high school, so I'm trying to concentrate on that. And then after that, things are open. Things are open. So
When? Like 3 years, you said?
no. My son is a junior right now, so he has this year to finish school, this year and next year. So maybe next year, I have a couple of people that are pushing me to run for the Board of Education right now.
I'm the first. I'm gonna talk to you about that every single day.
Yes. But right now I just, like I said, it's been a long journey with my son. I had to pull him out of the Elizabeth Public Schools because he just was not getting the education that he needed there. And now he's in a wonderful place. He just won. He was running for student body president at his school, and he won yesterday.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
And just to see how far he's come, being in the right environment, being supported, is just like, it's what I always wanted, right?
That's every kid deserves.
Absolutely, that is what every kid deserves, and that's what makes me so angry, because my son was denied that for years at the Elizabeth Public Schools.
Wow.
And I have so many parents who reach out to me with similar stories. And I'm blessed enough that I'm able to put my son in another school district to help him. But many parents are not able to do that.
No.
And so what do they do, right? When we have the resources that can at least try to help it to a certain extent, right? But when parents are being lied to, told that they can't or they shouldn't, that's where we try to educate them, especially our Spanish speaking community, right? They don't know the language, they don't know their rights, they don't know their rights, they're afraid, especially now, right? To even come to a meeting or even say anything. I mean, I've had parents tell me that they don't want to say anything because they're afraid that something might happen. Right? So yeah. So I don't know when and if I'll run, but I'm sure I'll do something. I'm just not sure yet.
How do you see Elizabeth in the next 10 years?
Oh, wow. Well, we have, like I said, a mayor who's been mayor for, I don't know, I'm about to be 50 years old soon. So, probably 40 something years. It's time for
a change.
It's time for someone new. It's been time for someone new. And when I say someone new, I don't mean someone of the same group of people, right? We need somebody with fresh ideas, someone who, again, we have a large Spanish speaking population, right? Someone who represents the community and all its diversity. And so I'm hoping that in the next 10 years, we have a change. I was very encouraged to see Mondavi win in here in New York City for mayor. I'm hoping we get a change like that in Elizabeth. So we just need people to run.
What does serving the community means to you?
Oh, wow. Serving the community to me means just being a voice for those who are voiceless, right? For those people who are afraid or just don't know where to turn, don't want to put themselves out there. And so for me, I try to use my privilege to be able to speak on behalf of people who cannot. So that is important to me. Giving back to the community, maybe it's selfish because it does make me feel good when I do it. When I help people, when I help them to understand something, when I help them connect them with a resource, and then, they'll text me saying, thank you so much, and I'm just like, okay, well, I helped one person, and that's sometimes you can't serve on a level like an elected official, but if you can help one or two people get resources, and then those one or two help somebody else, and that's how we little by little try to, help each other out and change our communities.
Of course.
Yeah.
How can I think like I asked that you before, but I still trying to figure out how can we get the community and the young people. How can we convince them that they need to start being active in the community?
That's a good question. I think if I knew the answer to that specifically, I could help a lot of communities throughout New Jersey. I don't know, I just feel like people, I don't know, people have become, I say, I don't know, tired maybe, or they just feel like unmotivated. So what is going to spark that something inside of people to say, enough is enough and we need change, right? And I think when something doesn't affect you personally, you just kind of sit back and say, well, my life is good, right? I have a job, my kids are fine, so I don't need to get involved. But I think now with everything that's happening in the world, right? With our new president, maybe people will see, you know what, we need to change this. And when we need to change this, we also need to change some things that at our local level. So getting people, like I said, getting people to register to vote, getting people motivated to come out and actually vote, because sometimes people will register and then they don't go and vote.
Oh yeah, I think we need to start also in at home, as you say, educating our kids like you did with your daughter.
Yes.
Because they are sometimes like apathetic. They feel like
well, there's a
like
yeah. I had my daughter's friend who came over and I asked her, I said, oh, are you going to go vote? And she said, I'm not registered to vote. And I'm like, how are you not registered to vote? I think that should be something that's mandatory, that before you graduate from high school, you should automatically be registered to vote,
Okay.
because just like, when you get your driver's license, they
Yeah.
make you determine whether or not you want to be an organ donor. So you should be automatically registered to vote when,
I'm sorry. It's okay. The time is crazy. Okay, I want to give you those 2 minutes to call the attention, the Elizabeth community, Elizabeth citizen attention in regards of everything we have talked here about being involved in the community, in the stand up and raise their voices, and don't be scared, don't be afraid to talk, and take advantage and run for a position. And okay.
Yeah. So, I definitely want to encourage anyone who's ever interested in making a change, right? Running for either your city council or your board of education, and coming to those meetings, I think, is very important. And one of the initiatives that we're trying to push, again, like I said, was to get our city council meetings streamed live so that people at home can know what's going on. And then it's very important to have people come to those city council meetings every Tuesday at 7:30 at City Hall. Show up, speak about your concerns. Let your elected representatives know what it is that is happening in your communities, because they may not know and they cannot help if they do not know. And make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure your children are registered to vote. Encourage your neighbors to do the same thing. Attend your local block watch meetings, so that you could connect with your elected officials. And, they're not all bad, and I think they need support as well. And maybe sometimes they need to see things in a different perspective. But yeah, we need people to assume the responsibility of running for elected office, and and we need some change in Elizabeth. So I hope that starts to happen. And you can always find me on social media at our Elizabeth Parents and Students Care, our Facebook group, and then of course just regular Facebook, Instagram, and I'm more than happy to guide you in the right direction.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for having
I want
me.
to yes, I want to thank you for joining me today, and maybe in another opportunity because we met in a weird
In a weird way. Oh yes, the gum gate. We like
but God knows how
we came together. Yeah.
we came together, and for and who knows for what.
Yes.
So I appreciate you joining me today. And as I say, so Elizabeth people needs to wake up, and we need a change. We have here our leadership, Christina Moreira, which is she's an example for all of us. And we need to continue fighting, even if we feel like nothing is can be possible. Yes, it can be possible if we all get together, stand up, and raise our voices and start working on it. Okay, thank you very much, and see you next Saturday. Bye bye. Thank you.
Perspectiva con pereza cortino. Latinos TV Desde Nueva York, con pasión y emoción. Latinos TV, la mejor conexión. Noticias, deportes y entretenimiento. Aquí se siente el verdadero talento.